Doug, you over there, Doug?
Yeah, man, don't you see me? I'm right here.
I figured you'd probably show up again for this review. Alright, I think I might have to have something to actually just disappear before this movie. That'd be nice. Give me something real good.
You want something to
I need to disappear for this review. Absolutely.
You've been drinking all this time. Pick up your drink.
Alright, let's see. Let's see what this does to me tonight. Out of all the times I need to vanish from a review, you give me something that doesn't do nothing. Good job. Good job, Doug.
I ran out of tannel leaves.
Welcome back. It's October. It's horror month. We're still working our way through the 31 days of 31 reviews of 31 Universal horror movies, and we've come to Abbott and Costello Meet the Invisible Man.
So here we go. Now this is what I was talking about Abbott and Costello not being very funny. And I'm not blaming the mummy. I'm kind of blaming Abbott and Costello themselves.
Why would you blame the mummy? This is the Invisible Man review.
Why are you blaming the mummy, man?
I also don't blame the mummy for this one.
I don't blame the mummy at all. He's dancing with the devil.
I better check to see what's in this drink. What'd you give me again?
You know, you've been drinking it all month.
This was the Invisible Man. I wish this movie would have just disappeared and never existed.
I actually did enjoy this film. I didn't like it as much as the last one.
Let me just say, I thought this was one of the worst movies I've ever had to sit through. It was horrible.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. I think that they thought that they felt obligated because the stinger at the end of Abbott and Costello Meets Frankenstein had the Invisible Man in there, and so they thought, well, since we teased it, we have to make the movie, but let this be a lesson. You don't always have to do that.
You do not, no.
I enjoyed this movie. I thought, man, it was pretty good. I didn't like it as much as Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, but it was alright. It was okay for what it was. And once again, Abbott and Costello did their Abbott and Costello. They did their routines within the movie.
Yeah, and they felt old, they felt stale, and they just weren't in it as good as the Frankenstein film, and I didn't feel as if they were very funny. I didn't like the story in here. Blech.
I'm feeling it.
I'm feeling something. I didn't like the story in here. I thought it was pretty terrible. I didn't like the whole boxing thing. Pretty stupid idea for a story. Them being detectives, thought that was kind of dumb. Yeah, I hated the entire thing.
I did think the detective stuff was pretty weak, and also the entire Invisible Man story was pretty weak, but I gotta say, I did think all the stuff in the boxing ring was funny as hell.
That's what I enjoyed about it. I really liked that. I thought the detective stuff was kind of, but the boxing part of it wasn't too bad. And also, it had Fred Mertz. Fred Mertz was in this movie from I Love Lucy. He played like the head policeman.
Yeah, I bet he wished he would have been able to disappear after seeing this movie.
I don't think so. He played more of a straight man, though, but they did some comedy to him toward the end.
It almost kind of seems like they came up with the idea of the boxing scene with the Invisible Man and all the gags that they could do, and then they reverse engineered a plot for a movie around it so that could be the final scene. It's kind of how it felt to me.
And I will agree that the boxing stuff at the end was funny. Okay, yeah, I enjoyed that. That was pretty good. There was a lot of good gags there. It was pretty funny. And because of that, I'm not giving this the lowest score. But I will give this film a 2 out of 5.
They had Griffin in here again. The original John Griffin from the original Invisible Man. So it actually linked back to him rather than, all the other Invisible Man movies. They've just kind of mentioned, well, this is Robert Griffin or Bob Griffin or Billy Bob Griffin or what have you, but they weren't actually part of the Griffin clan. This guy wasn't either. But at least the technology and all the drugs, man, the drugs went back to the original Invisible Man.
That's true. They did have a framed 8x10 glossy of Claude Rains up on the wall. They showed props.
So, what are you guys giving this film?
So I would also give this movie a 3.
I did not give it a 3 out of 5.
I thought you gave it a 3 out of 5.
I gave it barely a 2.
Man.
I would also give it a 3 out of 5.
Alright, I don't know what you're giving any drinks, Doug, but it must be working because people are seeing things that weren't there. I can tell you that.
Yeah, you weren't seeing the Invisible Man.
I didn't want to see this movie at all. However, if you guys want to see some really cool live streaming tonight for some really spooky video games, then tune in because Dave and Becky, once again, every day of the week, 7 days a week for 31 straight days, have been playing spooky video games.
Heck yeah!
And speaking of spooky, you guys know what to do. Stay spooky.